June 2019, Route 66, Arizona.
Don't touch
The
me.
desert sun hangs low over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of
Just a
burnt
little
orange
pat,
and deep
sweetheart.
crimson. Heat
You think
shimmers
you could
off the
just walk
asphalt of
away?
Route 66, that
Think
legendary
again.
ribbon of
I'm
road
sorry, I made a
stretching
mistake.
across the
Please let me
American
go.
Southwest like a
No.
scar across ancient
You know
skin.
what? Just bring me the chef
Rosie's
fries. I'm
Diner
feeling
sits at the edge of
adventurous.
Sir, we
nowhere,
don't
a
have a
chrome
chef's
and neon
fries.
Oh,
relic
come on. You must
from a
have
time
something.
when
I can take
America
your order,
moved
you can
slower,
leave.
Fine.
when a
Give me the damn
handshake meant
coffee.
something,
You think you could
when a
just walk
man's
in
word
here?
was his
I
bond.
go where I please,
6
kid.
Harley-Davidson
Not anymore.
motorcycles stand
This
in
is my
perfect formation
territory.
outside,
We'll see about
chrome
that.
gleaming,
I said you
leather
looked down on me,
saddlebags
didn't
dusty
you?
from a
Look
1,000
down.
miles.
Right here.
Each bike bears the same emblem, the winged skull of the Hells Angels. But inside the diner, one man sits alone. Jack Morrison is 68 years old. His hair long and silver is pulled back in a ponytail that reaches between his shoulder blades. Deep lines carve through his weathered face like canyons, each one a map of decisions made, roads taken, battles fought. His beard, once dark as midnight, now carries the gray of too many winters. On his right forearm, an eagle spreads its wings across sun-damaged skin. The tattoo is old, the ink faded, but still proud. On his left hand, a simple gold band catches the afternoon light. Jack sits at the counter, not with his brothers. This detail matters. In the booth at the back, 6 men wear the same leather cuts, the same patches, the same brotherhood. They laugh over coffee and pie, their voices carrying the easy rhythm of men who have ridden together through dust storms and downpours, through good times and bad. But Jack sits alone. His coffee has gone cold. He does not drink it. His calloused hands rest on either side of the white ceramic cup, motionless as if anchoring himself to something solid in a world that has begun to tilt. In the breast pocket of his leather jacket, folded with military precision, is a letter. The envelope reads simply, Sloan. He has written and rewritten this letter 17 times. Each version says the same thing in different words. Each version remains unsent. The letter begins, Sloan, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. But Jack Morrison is not a man of words. He is a man of action, of engines and oil, of problems solved with wrenches and willpower. And now, faced with a problem that cannot be fixed, he sits silent at a counter watching the sun prepare to set. 4 to 6 months, the doctor had said 3 weeks ago. Stage 4 lung cancer. Inoperable. Jack had asked only one question. Can I still ride? The doctor had looked at him with practiced sympathy. For a while, but you'll need to stop when... Jack had walked out before the man finished speaking. This is his last ride, the final pilgrimage. One more journey down Route 66 before the engine stops forever. Behind him, Bear's laugh booms across the diner. Bear, whose real name is William Garrett, has led the chapter for 12 years. At 62, he still looks like he could bend steel with his bare hands. Beside him, Tiny, a 6'5" former boxer who earned his nickname through irony, slaps the table hard enough to rattle the silverware. These are his brothers. They have offered to ride with him on this final journey. They have offered everything. But some roads a man must travel alone. The door chime rings. Jack does not look up. He has learned over 68 years to measure a person by the sound of their footsteps, the weight of their presence. These footsteps are light, quick, young. Coffee warm up, Mr. Morrison. Jack looks up into the face of May Catherine Holloway, though everyone calls her Kate, 24 years old. Honey brown hair pulled back in a ponytail that swings when she moves. Green eyes that carry both kindness and something else. Something that looks like old pain wearing a young face. She has worked at Rosie's Diner for 8 months. Jack has stopped here 4 times in 10 years, and each time, Kate has remembered how he takes his coffee. Black, no sugar, no cream. 6 months ago, during his last visit, she had noticed the ring on his finger. Your wife, she had said, not as a question, but as a statement. She was lucky to have someone who still wears the ring. Jack had looked down at the gold band, this circle that has not left his finger in 42 years. I was the lucky one, he had said, his voice rough as gravel. She passed 5 years back. Cancer. Kate had placed her hand on his just for a moment, a gesture of comfort from a stranger who understood something about loss. You keep the love, she had said softly. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. In that moment, Jack had seen his daughter. Not the woman Sloan had become, 28 years old, living in Seattle, a journalist who had not spoken to him in 5 years, but the girl she had been. The same age as Kate, the same fierce independence wrapped around a core of compassion. Now Kate refills his coffee with practiced ease. The hot liquid steams in the cup, dark as motor oil. You okay, Mr. Morrison? You've been sitting here a while. Jack manages something that might be a smile. Just thinking. Well, don't think too hard. Thinking's how people talk themselves out of doing what they know they need to do. Jack nods slowly. You're probably right about that. Kate moves down the counter checking on other customers. Jack watches her work. There is grace in the way she moves, efficiency born from months of carrying heavy trays and memorizing orders. But there is also wariness. She smiles, but the smile does not quite reach her eyes. Jack recognizes that look. He has seen it on the faces of those who have learned not to trust too easily, who have been hurt and have built walls. His daughter wore that same expression the last time he saw her. The memory comes unbidden, Sloane standing in the doorway of her Seattle apartment 5 years ago. Her mother had been dead for 3 months. Jack had ridden his Harley from Phoenix to Seattle, needing to see his daughter, needing to make sure she was all right. But he had not known what to say. He had stood there, this big man in leather and road dust, with 1,000 words trapped behind his teeth. Why are you here? Sloane had asked. Wanted to check on you. Well, I'm fine. You can go now. The door had closed. Jack had stood in the hallway for 10 minutes before finally turning away. They had not spoken since. The letter in his pocket grows heavier. Soon he will have to mail it. Soon she will have to know that her father is dying. That he wasted 5 years being a coward when he should have been her father. But not yet. The chime above the door rings again. This time the sound is different, sharper, more aggressive. 3 men walk into Rosie's diner. They do not belong here. That much is clear from the first glance. Their clothes are too expensive, tailored suits in a place where most customers wear jeans and work boots. Their watches catch the light, gold and silver gleaming like warning signals. The man in front is 42, maybe 43, tall with the kind of build that comes from personal trainers and expensive gyms, not from actual labor. His hair is styled with a product that probably costs more than most people in this diner make in a day. He wears a charcoal suit that fits him like a second skin, and his shoes are Italian leather, polished to a mirror shine. Behind him, 2 younger men, both cut from the same cloth, both wearing the expression of people who have never been told no. The first man's gaze sweeps across the diner with undisguised contempt. His lip curls slightly as he takes in the worn vinyl booths, the checkered linoleum floor, the ceiling fan that wobbles slightly as it turns. At the back booth, Bear has stopped laughing. The entire table of Hell's Angels has gone quiet. They watch these 3 men the way predators watch prey that has wandered into the wrong territory. But the 3 men do not notice, or if they notice, they do not care. They slide into a booth near the counter, near Jack. The lead man snaps his fingers, actually snaps them like summoning a dog. Hey, service. Kate, who has been taking an order from an elderly couple, turns at the sound. Her professional smile is already in place, but Jack sees the micro-expression that flashes across her face before the smile locks down. Irritation, and something else. Recognition. She has seen men like this before. I'll be right with you, she says pleasantly. Now would be better. The words are not loud, but they carry. Several customers look up from their meals. At the back booth, Tiny shifts in his seat, his massive frame tensing. Kate finishes with the elderly couple, then walks to the new booth. She pulls out her order pad, pen ready. What can I get you, gentlemen? The lead man does not look at her face. His gaze travels down, then up, slow and deliberate, assessing, judging. Coffee, and tell me, sweetheart, is anything in this place actually edible, or should we just leave if now? The 2 men with him laugh. The sound is ugly. Kate's smile does not waver. Coffee's fresh, food's honest. Can't promise more than that. Honest food. The man leans back, spreading his arms across the back of the booth like he owns it. That's a low bar, but I suppose in a place like this, low bars are all you've got. Jack's hands tighten on his coffee cup. The ceramic creaks under the pressure. I'll give you a minute to look at the menu, Kate says, her voice still professional, still controlled. She turns to go. Wait, the word is not a request. Kate stops, turns back. Yes. The man looks her up and down again, slower this time. His smile is the kind of smile that makes women check over their shoulders when walking to their cars at night. How long have you been working here? 8 months. 8 months waiting tables. He pauses. How old are you? Kate's jaw tightens just slightly. Is there something specific you'd like to order? Just curious. You look young, early 20s. What are you putting yourself through, college or something? Or something. The man leans forward. His cologne reaches across the space between them, expensive and cloying. Let me give you some advice, sweetheart. A girl who looks like you're wasting yourself in a place like this. I run a company in Phoenix, Rutherford Development Group. Maybe you've heard of it. Kate shakes her head. Well, you should have. We're one of the biggest real estate firms in Arizona, and we're always looking for talented people. The pause before talented is deliberate. Someone like you with the right attitude could do very well. Very well indeed. The money would certainly be better than what you're making here. I appreciate the offer, but I'm fine where I am. Are you... He glances around the diner again, making sure his disdain is visible. Really, because from where I'm sitting, you're pouring coffee for truck drivers and farmers. That's not much of a future. At the counter, Jack slowly sets down his cup. The sound is soft but final. The man does not notice. Think about it, he continues. I'm serious about the offer. A girl with your assets could go far in the right environment. The word assets hangs in the air like smoke. Kate's face has gone pale, then flushed. Her hands, Jack notices, are trembling slightly as she holds the order pad. I'll get your coffee, she says, and this time there is something brittle in her voice. She walks away quickly, heading for the kitchen. The three men laugh again. The lead man says something to his companions, too quiet for Jack to hear, but the tone is clear. They are enjoying this. Jack looks down at his hands. They are shaking. Not from weakness, from rage. He has spent 68 years learning to control his anger, to channel it into productive action rather than destructive violence. He has learned that true strength is knowing when not to strike. But some lessons become harder to remember when you watch someone being degraded by a man who thinks money makes him untouchable. Behind Jack, chair legs scrape against linoleum. Bear has stood up. The other 5 Hells Angels are rising too, a slow wave of leather and muscle. Jack raises one hand, not turning around. A small gesture. Wait. Bear sees it. He nods once barely perceptible, and the others settle back into their seats. But they do not relax. They are coiled springs waiting for the signal. Kate returns with 3 cups of coffee. Her hands are steadier now, her professional mask back in place. She sets the cups down without a word, then pulls out her order pad. Ready to order? The lead man picks up his cup, examines it as if checking for flaws, then takes a sip. He makes a face. This coffee is terrible. When was it made this morning? 20 minutes ago. Tastes like yesterday. He sets the cup down with unnecessary force. Coffee sloshes over the rim, spreading across the white formica. Bring me a fresh pot, and this time make sure it's actually hot. Kate nods. She reaches for the cup. As she does, the man shifts in his seat. His arm moves. It looks like an accident, just a casual adjustment of position. But Jack sees it clearly. The man's hand brushes against Kate's hip. Not a graze. Not an accident, a deliberate touch, fingers spreading slightly, claiming territory. Kate jerks back as if burned. The cup tilts in her hands, spilling the remaining coffee across the table. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, she starts. Are you serious right now? The man stands up, brushing at his pants where a few drops have splashed. Do you know how much this suit costs? Do you have any idea? I'm sorry, I'll get a towel. A towel. He laughs, but there is no humor in it. A towel's going to fix Italian wool. This suit costs more than you make in a month, sweetheart. Sir, I apologize. You'll what pay for the dry cleaning with what your tip money. He steps closer to her, using his height to intimidate. You know what your problem is? You're clumsy, careless, probably why you're still pouring coffee instead of doing something with your life. Kate's face has gone white. Her lips are pressed together in a thin line. Jack can see her fighting tears, fighting the urge to run, fighting to maintain some shred of dignity in front of this man who is systematically stripping it away. I said I was sorry. Sorry doesn't cut it, sweetheart. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a money clip. $100 bills thick as a deck of cards. He peels off 5 of them and tosses them on the wet table. Here, $500. That should cover the dry cleaning and maybe get you something nice to wear, something that shows off those curves. The words land like a slap. Nice curves, by the way, he adds, his gaze traveling down her body again. Really nice. You ever think about modeling or other opportunities? I know people who would pay very well for a girl who looks like you. Kate takes a step back, then another. Her face is no longer pale. It is scarlet with humiliation and rage. I don't want your money. No, the man smiles. Everyone wants money, sweetheart. The only question is what you're willing to do for it. He reaches out as if to touch her arm. That is when Jack Morrison stands up. The movement is slow, deliberate. Jack is not a young man anymore. His knees protest. His back complains at the sudden change in position. But when he rises to his full 6'2" height, when he turns to face the three men in the booth, there is something in his presence that makes the entire diner go quiet. It is not his size. It is not even the leather jacket with its patches and emblems. It is something older than that. Something primal. It is the look in the eyes of a man who has nothing left to lose. Jack takes 3 steps toward the booth. His boots, worn and dusty from 1,000 miles of road, sound like thunder on the linoleum floor. The lead man turns to look at him. For the first time, he seems to actually see Jack. His gaze takes in the leather jacket, the silver hair, the weathered face. His lip curls in amusement. "Can I help you, old man?" Jack's voice when he speaks is quiet, but it carries the weight of every mile he has ridden, every fight he has survived, every person he has loved and lost. "You owe the lady an apology." The man blinks. Then he laughs. It is a sharp barking sound. "Excuse me." "You heard me. Apologize to her. Now." The 2 younger men slide out of the booth, flanking their boss. They are trying to look threatening, but there is uncertainty in their eyes. The lead man stands up, squaring his shoulders. He is tall, maybe 6 feet, well-built from his expensive gym. He looks Jack up and down with open contempt. "Do you know who I am?" "No, and I don't care. I'm Marcus Rutherford, CEO of Rutherford Development Group. I'm worth more than everyone in this diner combined. And you," he gestures at Jack's leather jacket at the Hells Angels patch on his back. "You're some old biker who probably hasn't had a legal job in 40 years. So why don't you sit back down and mind your own business before you get hurt?" Jack does not move, does not blink. "The lady, apologize to her." Marcus Rutherford's face darkens. "Or what? You'll hit me? An old man like you." He turns to his companions. "Trent, you're recording this, right? Make sure you get a good angle. When this fossil lays a hand on me, I want it all on video for the lawsuit." The man called Trent pulls out his phone, holds it up. Marcus turns back to Jack, and now his smile is vicious. "Go ahead, old man, touch me. I've got lawyers who eat guys like you for breakfast. I'll own whatever rust bucket motorcycle you rode in on. I'll own your house. He stops, because Jack has taken another step forward, and now they are separated by less than 2 feet. At this distance, Marcus can see things he could not see from across the diner. He can see the deep lines around Jack's eyes carved by years of sun and wind and sorrow. He can see the tattoos on Jack's forearms, prison-quality ink from the 1970s, before tattooing was trendy, when it meant something. He can see the scar tissue on Jack's knuckles, the kind that comes from hitting things or people repeatedly over many years. And he can see Jack's eyes. They are gray like thunderclouds, and they are not angry. They are calm. That calmness is more terrifying than rage could ever be. "I'm not going to touch you," Jack says quietly. "I'm just giving you a choice. You can apologize to Miss Holloway. You can walk out of here, and we can all go on with our lives. Or you can keep talking, and we'll see what happens." Marcus laughs, but it sounds forced now. "What's that supposed to mean? You going to sick your biker gang on me?" Behind Jack, 6 chairs scrape against the floor in perfect unison. 6 men stand up. Bare, tiny, red, wheels, smoke, Doc. They do not rush forward. They do not shout or make threats. They simply stand a wall of leather and muscle, and they wait. Marcus's gaze flicks to them, then back to Jack. For the first time, there is something that might be uncertainty in his expression. "You think this impresses me, a bunch of old bikers? I know who you are. Hells Angels. Criminals. I could have every one of you arrested just for..." "For what?" Jack interrupts. "Standing up. We're just having coffee, same as you." "You're threatening me." "No, I'm asking you to do the right thing." "There's a difference." Marcus's jaw clenches. He is trapped now, and he knows it. If he backs down, he loses face in front of his employees. If he escalates, he is outnumbered 7-1 in a diner full of witnesses. He makes his decision. "You want to know what I think?" Marcus steps even closer until he and Jack are almost chest to chest. "I think you're a washed-up old man trying to play hero. I think you and your biker buddies are relics from a time that's over. And I think," he reaches out and taps Jack's chest with one finger, hard enough to feel dismissive, "you should get out of my way before I make what's left of your pathetic life very, very unpleasant." The diner holds its breath. Jack looks down at the finger on his chest. Then he looks up at Marcus Rutherford. And when he speaks, his voice is so quiet that only Marcus can hear. "What's left of my life is about 4 months, maybe less, stage 4 lung cancer. Doctor told me 3 weeks ago, so when you talk about making my life unpleasant, Jack's lips curve into something that is not quite a smile. You're already too late for that. Marcus blinks. He has not expected this. Jack takes one step back, creates space. When he speaks again, his voice is loud enough for the entire diner to hear. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to apologize to Miss Holloway. You're going to leave your money on the table to pay for your coffee, not as a tip, not as some kind of payment, but as what you owe for the service. And then you're going to walk out that door and drive back to Phoenix or wherever you came from. And you're going to forget this place exists. And if I don't, Jack does not answer immediately. He simply looks at Marcus Rutherford with those calm gray eyes. Finally, he speaks. Then you'll learn something I learned a long time ago, that the most dangerous man in any room is the one who's got nothing left to lose. For a long moment, Marcus Rutherford stands frozen. His face cycles through emotions, anger, humiliation, calculation. His two employees are watching him, waiting to see what he will do. Then Marcus smiles. It is not a pleasant smile. You know what, fine. You win, old man. He turns to Kate, who has been standing frozen near the counter. I apologize. I'm very, very sorry. Is that what you wanted? The words are right. The tone is pure mockery. Marcus reaches into his pocket and pulls out his money clip again. He tosses it on the table, not the 500 from before, but the entire clip. There must be $3,000 there. There, that should cover the coffee and any emotional distress I caused. He looks back at Jack. We good now? Jack says nothing. Marcus nods slowly. Yeah, I thought so. He gestures to his companions. Let's go. This place smells like grease and failure anyway. The three men walk toward the door, but Marcus pauses when he reaches Kate. He leans in close, his voice low enough that only she and the people nearby can hear. I know your name now, May Catherine Holloway, and I know where you work. I'm a very resourceful man when someone interests me, so maybe I'll see you again, when you don't have your guard dogs around. Then he is gone, the door chime ringing as it closes behind him. The diner remains silent for 3 full seconds. Then Kate makes a sound, half sob, half gasp, and runs for the kitchen. Jack stands motionless, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. The adrenaline is draining from his body now, leaving behind a bone-deep exhaustion that has nothing to do with the cancer eating through his lungs. Rosie, the owner of the diner, a woman of 58 with steel gray hair and eyes that have seen it all, comes out from behind the cash register. She looks at Jack, then at the kitchen door, where Kate disappeared, then back at Jack. You did good, she says quietly. Jack shakes his head. No, I didn't do enough. He walks toward the kitchen. Behind him, Bear and the others return to their table, but the easy atmosphere from before is gone. They sit in silence, waiting. Jack pushes through the swinging door into the kitchen. Kate is leaning against the industrial sink, her shoulders shaking. She is not making sound, but her whole body trembles with the force of suppressed sobs. Miss Holloway. She spins around, startled. Her eyes are red. Mascara has left dark tracks down her cheeks. I'm sorry, she says immediately. I'm sorry, I'm fine. I'll be out in a minute. I just need... You don't need to apologize. But I made a scene. I should have just... You didn't make the scene, he did. Jack keeps his distance, not wanting to crowd her. And you handled yourself with more grace than most people would have. Kate wipes at her eyes with the back of her hand. He said he knows my name. He said he'll find me. I know. What if he comes back? What if, her voice breaks, God, I'm so stupid. I should have just taken the money and shut up. I should have... Stop. The word is gentle but firm. Jack takes one step closer. Listen to me. You did nothing wrong. Nothing. That man is a bully, and bullies operate on fear. He wants you scared. Don't give him that. But what if he were... He won't. Jack's voice carries absolute certainty. Because you're not going to face him alone. Kate looks up at him, confusion in her eyes. What do you mean? Jack reaches into his pocket and pulls out a business card. It is old, the edge is worn. He writes a phone number on the back. This is my number. If he contacts you, if he comes back, if he calls, if he so much as sends you a message, you call me immediately. Understand? But why would you, because, Jack pauses. He thinks about telling her about his daughter, about what happened 5 years ago. But that is his burden to carry, not hers. Instead, he tells her a simpler truth. Because I'm running out of time to do the right thing. And I'm tired of watching bad people hurt good people and walk away unpunished. He holds out the card. Kate takes it with trembling fingers. I don't even know what to say. Don't say anything. Just stay safe. She nods, then suddenly steps forward and hugs him. It is quick, impulsive, the embrace of someone who desperately needs to believe that good people still exist in the world. Jack stands rigid for a moment, then carefully pats her shoulder. You're going to be all right. She steps back, wiping her eyes again. Thank you, really. Thank you. Jack nods once and turns to leave, but Kate's voice stops him. Mr. Morrison, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you really help me? You don't even know me. Jack is quiet for a moment. When he speaks, his voice is distant, as if he is talking to someone else, someone far away. Because some things are worth standing up for, even when you're running out of time to stand. He pushes through the kitchen door and back into the diner. Bear is waiting for him. The big man's face is grim. Wheels just looked up our friend Marcus Rutherford. And he's exactly what he said, CEO of a major development company. But there's more. Bear pulls out his phone, shows Jack a news article. He's currently under investigation, real estate fraud. Apparently, he's been buying up land from farmers and ranchers, promising to develop senior living communities, then flipping the properties to casinos and resorts for 10 times what he paid. Jack's jaw tightens. How many families? At least 11 that we know of. Bear pauses, including Wheel's mother. The words land like a punch. Wheel's real name, Thomas Callahan, is 59 years old. He has been riding with the club for 23 years. His mother, Margaret, is 76. She owned 180 acres of farmland outside Prescott. Jack looks over at Wheels, who is sitting very still, staring at nothing. When 3 months ago, Bear says, Wheels didn't want to say anything, didn't want charity, but his mom lost the farm that's been in their family for 3 generations. She got $180,000 for the land. Rutherford turned around and sold it to a casino development company for $3.2 million. Son of a bitch. Yeah, Bear's massive hands curl into fists. So the question is, what are we going to do about it? Jack is quiet for a long moment. Through the window, he can see the sun touching the horizon, bleeding red across the desert sky. In his pocket, the letter to his daughter seems to pulse like a second heartbeat. 4 to 6 months. 3 weeks already gone. What do you do when you have one last chance to stand for something? Jack looks at Bear. We're going to make this right. How? I don't know yet, but we're going to need help. He pulls out his phone, a basic flip model that he barely knows how to use. He scrolls through the contacts until he finds the name he is looking for. Vivian Bradford, attorney at law, retired prosecutor, old friend. His thumb hovers over the call button. Then he keeps scrolling to a name he has not called in 5 years. Sloan Iman. His daughter, his only child, the person who stopped speaking to him after he failed to show up for her mother's memorial service because he was too drunk to stand, too broken to face the world, too ashamed to admit he could not hold himself together. Jack stares at the name for a long time. Then he presses the button. The phone rings once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th ring, it goes to voicemail. This is Sloan Morrison with the Seattle Times. Leave a message. The beep sounds like a gunshot. Jack opens his mouth, closes it. How do you compress 5 years of silence into 30 seconds? Sloan, it's your father. His voice sounds strange to his own ears, uncertain. I need to talk to you. It's important. Please call me back. He hangs up before he can say more, before he can say the things that need to be said but cannot be said on a voicemail. Bear is watching him. You think she'll call back? No. Then why call? Jack looks out at the desert, at the road stretching away into darkness. Because I have to try them. They sit in silence for a moment. Then Jack's phone rings. He looks down at the screen. Unknown number. He answers. Morrison. Dad. The word hits him like a freight train. It has been 5 years since he heard his daughter's voice. 5 years since she called him Dad. Sloan. I saw a missed call. Is something wrong? Her voice is professional, distant, the voice of a journalist conducting an interview, not a daughter speaking to her father. I need your help with something. With what? There's a man, Marcus Rutherford, CEO of a development company out of Phoenix. Rutherford Development Group, I know who he is. Jack blinks. You do? Guau. I've been investigating him for 3 months. Real estate fraud. He's been targeting elderly landowners across Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico, buying property under false pretenses, then flipping it for massive profits. I'm working on a piece right now. For the first time in weeks, Jack feels something like hope. Then I need to tell you what I just saw him do. And I need to tell you about 11 families who might be willing to talk to you, including one who's family to me. There is a pause on the other end of the line. Where are you? Rosie's Diner, Route 66, about 40 miles outside Flagstaff. I can be there tomorrow afternoon. Sloan? I'm coming for the story, Dad, not for you. The line goes dead. Jack lowers the phone slowly. His hands are shaking, but this time it is not from anger. Bear claps him on the shoulder. She's coming. Yeah, that's good, right? Jack thinks about the coldness in his daughter's voice, the professional distance, the years of damage that cannot be undone by a single phone call. I don't know, he says honestly, but it's a start. Outside, the sun has set completely. The desert is dark, lit only by the neon sign of Rosie's Diner and the distant stars. Jack Morrison is 68 years old. He has stage 4 lung cancer. He has roughly 4 months left to live. But for the first time in 5 years, he has a purpose. For the first time in 5 years, he is going to fight for something that matters. And for the first time in 5 years, he is going to see his daughter. The road ahead is dark. The ending is certain. But the ride is not over yet, not even close. The afternoon sun blazes through the windows of Rosie's Diner, casting long shadows across the checkered floor. Jack Morrison sits in the same seat he occupied yesterday, coffee growing cold in front of him, eyes fixed on the parking lot. She is late. Sloan said she would arrive by 2 o'clock. It is now 2:47. Jack tells himself this is fine. Traffic from Seattle to northern Arizona is unpredictable. Flights get delayed. Rental cars break down. There are 1,000 reasonable explanations for why his daughter has not yet arrived. But the voice in the back of his mind that whispers something else. She changed her mind. She realized she did not want to see you. She is not coming. At the back booth, Bear and Wheels are pretending to read the newspaper. Tiny is working on his third piece of apple pie. The others left this morning to ride up to Prescott to start the process of talking to the families Marcus Rutherford had defrauded. But Bear insisted on staying. You shouldn't be alone when you see her, he had said. Jack had not argued. Kate refills his coffee for the 4th time. She has been quieter today, more withdrawn. Every time the door opens, she flinches slightly, as if expecting Marcus Rutherford to walk back in. You doing okay? Jack asked her. She forces a smile. Fine, just tired. Did he contact you? No, nothing. But her hand shakes slightly as she pours. I'm probably being paranoid. Paranoid keeps you safe. Kate nods, sets down the coffee pot. Your daughter, she's really coming. She said she was. That's good. Family's important. Jack does not respond. The weight of 5 years of silence sits heavy between what Kate said and what is actually true. The door chime rings. A woman walks in. 28 years old, 5'7", auburn hair pulled back in a professional ponytail. She wears dark jeans, a white blouse, a blazer that has seen better days. A leather messenger bag hangs across her shoulder, bulging with notebooks and recording equipment. She scans the diner with the quick, assessing gaze of someone trained to notice details, to read rooms, to identify sources and threats with equal efficiency. Her eyes land on Jack. For 3 full seconds, father and daughter stare at each other across the distance of the diner and the vastness of 5 years. Then Sloan Morrison walks forward. She does not smile, does not rush to embrace him. She simply walks to the counter and sits down 2 stools away from Jack, placing her bag between them like a barrier. Dad. Sloan. Up close, Jack can see the way she has changed. The laugh lines that used to crinkle around her eyes are gone, replaced by the kind of hardness that comes from too many difficult stories, too many people who lie, too many truths that hurt to uncover. She looks older than 28. She looks tired. She looks like him. You look good, Jack says, because he does not know what else to say. Sloan's eyebrow arches. You look terrible. Cancer will do that. The word lands between them like a grenade. Sloan's expression does not change, but something flickers in her eyes. You said you needed my help with Marcus Rutherford. You didn't mention you were dying. Would it have mattered? I don't know, maybe. She pulls a notebook from her bag, flips it open. Let's focus on why I'm here. You said you witnessed Rutherford engage in harassment yesterday. Just like that, they are in business mode. Journalist and source. Not father and daughter. Jack can work with that. He tells her everything. Marcus Rutherford walking into the diner. The harassment of Kate. The money thrown like an insult. The threat whispered as he left. Sloan writes quickly, her handwriting sharp and efficient. Did anyone else witness this? Everyone in the diner, including 6 Hell's Angels. Hell's Angels aren't exactly credible witnesses in court. They are if they're telling the truth. Sloan looks up at him. The truth and what a jury believes are two different things. You know that. Then we need more than testimony. Agreed, it did. She closes the notebook. You mentioned 11 families. What do you have? Bear slides out of the booth and approaches his massive frame, making Sloan look small by comparison. Bear Garrett, I ride with your father. Sloan shakes his hand without hesitation. Sloan Morrison, what can you tell me about the fraud? My friend's mother, Margaret Donovan, lost her family farm 3 months ago. Rutherford promised to build a senior living community. She sold him 180 acres for 180,000. He flipped it to a casino developer for 3.2 million. Sloan's pen moves across the paper. Do you have documentation? We have the contract she signed, we have the deed transfer, and we have county records showing the secondary sale. That's a start. I'll need to talk to Mrs. Donovan directly. She's expecting you, so are 10 other families. Sloan looks at Jack. You've been busy. The boys rode up to Prescott this morning. They made some calls. Jack pauses. These are good people, Sloan. Salt of the earth. They lost everything because they trusted the wrong man. Something in Sloan's expression softens just slightly. I know the type. I've covered stories like this before. Wealthy developers targeting vulnerable populations. It's a pattern. Then you know how it ends. The developers walk away rich. The families lose everything. And nothing changes. Not this time. Sloan's voice carries steel. I've been building a case against Rutherford for months. I have financial records. I have testimony from 3 families in Nevada. But I need more. I need a pattern so clear that even the best lawyers can't defend it. Bear nods. The families in Prescott will talk. They're scared, but they'll talk. What about the harassment? Sloan looks at Kate, who has been standing a few feet away listening. Miss Holloway, would you be willing to give an on-record interview about what happened? Kate's face goes pale. I don't know. He said he knows my name. He said he would find me. Did he threaten you explicitly? He said maybe he would see me again when I didn't have my guard dogs around. Sloan writes this down. That's ambiguous enough that it might not constitute a legal threat. But combined with the physical contact and the job offer with sexual implications, it establishes a pattern of harassment. She looks up at Kate. I understand you're scared, but your testimony could help protect other women. How many others have there been? Jack asks. Sloan hesitates. Based on my research, at least 15 women have filed HR complaints against Rutherford or his company in the past 7 years. All were settled with non-disclosure agreements. All received financial compensation in exchange for silence. Jesus Christ. One woman, Ainsley Kemp, worked as his executive assistant in 2017. She filed a complaint. 2 weeks later, she was offered $250,000 and a glowing reference letter if she signed an NDA and left the company. She took the money. Bear's hands curl into fists, so he's been doing this for years. At least. Probably longer. Sloan looks at Jack. The fraud is my primary story, but the harassment allegations add context. They show a pattern of predatory behavior across multiple domains. Jack thinks about Marcus Rutherford's smile as he left the diner. The casual cruelty, the absolute certainty that he would face no consequences. We need to talk to the other women. I've tried, most won't talk. The NDAs are ironclad. If they violate them, Rutherford can sue for breach of contract. They'd lose the settlement money and get hit with legal fees. What about the one who worked for him, Ainsley? She's my best bet. I've been trying to reach her for 2 months. She hasn't returned my calls. Kate speaks up, her voice quiet. What if someone who wasn't bound by an NDA talked to her? Someone who had been through something similar. Sloan turns to look at her. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that maybe women who have been harassed by powerful men don't want to talk to journalists. Maybe they want to talk to someone who understands what it feels like to be powerless and scared. There is a long silence. Then Sloan nods slowly. You might be right about that. Kate straightens her shoulders. I'll do it. I'll talk to her. And I'll go on record about what Rutherford did to me. Jack feels something unfamiliar stir in his chest. Pride. This young woman, this waitress, who could have stayed silent and safe, is choosing to stand up, just like his daughter is standing up by investigating a powerful man, just like he is trying to stand up in the last months of his life. Sloan pulls out her phone. I have Ainsley Kemp's last known address. She lives in Scottsdale. If we leave now, we could be there by evening. We? Jack asks. Sloan looks at him for the first time with something other than professional distance. You said you needed my help. That goes both ways. I need witnesses. I need testimony. And I need someone who can talk to the families in Prescott while I work other angles. I can do that. Good. Sloane stands slinging her bag over her shoulder. Then she pauses. There's something else you should know. Before I drove down here, I got a call from my editor. Someone filed a complaint against me. What kind of complaint? Alleging that I'm collaborating with criminal organizations, specifically the Hells Angels. She looks at Bear. No offense. Bear shrugs. None taken. We get that a lot. Jack's jaw tightens. Rutherford. Almost certainly. He has investigators. If he knows I've been looking into him, and if someone told him you and I are related, he could have put it together. Sloane's voice is matter of fact, but Jack can hear the tension underneath. My editor told me to back off the story until the complaint is resolved. And you told him? I told him I'd take some time off, which is technically true. I'm on leave for the next week. A ghost of a smile crosses her face. What I do with my personal time is my business. Jack almost smiles. That is his daughter. Stubborn, unwilling to back down from a fight. Just like her mother. The thought of his wife sends a familiar ache through his chest. Eleanor Morrison had been the strongest person he had ever known. She had fought cancer for 3 years with a grace and courage that had humbled him. And when she died, Jack had fallen apart. He had failed Eleanor by not being strong enough to handle her death. He had failed Sloane by disappearing into his grief and his anger. But maybe, just maybe, he could make something right before the end. Let's go talk to Ainsley Kemp, Jack says. Sloane nods. I'll drive. You look like you're about to fall over. I'm fine. You're dying. There's a difference. She says it without cruelty, just stating a fact. Come on, we're losing daylight. Jack stands his knees, protesting. Bear grips his shoulder. You need backup. Not yet, but keep the phone on. Bear nods. We'll be in Prescott. Call if you need us. Jack follows Sloane out to the parking lot. She drives a rented Honda Civic, practical and anonymous. His Harley sits next to it, chrome glinting in the afternoon sun. When did you start riding again? Sloane asks as she unlocks the car. I never stopped. Mom always worried about you on that thing. I know. They get in the car. Sloane starts the engine, pulls out onto Route 66. For several miles, neither of them speaks. Finally, Jack breaks the silence. I'm sorry I missed the memorial. Sloane's hands tighten on the steering wheel. We're not doing this. Sloane, I said we're not doing this. You want to help me nail Marcus Rutherford? Fine. We'll work together. But we're not having some deathbed reconciliation conversation. I have 4 to 6 months, if not now, when, maybe never. The words burst out of her with sudden violence. Maybe some things are too broken to fix, Dad. Did you ever think about that? Jack is quiet for a moment. Every day. Sloane blinks rapidly. She is crying, Jack realizes. Crying while driving 70 miles an hour down a desert highway. I needed you, she says, her voice breaking. When Mom died, I needed you so badly. And you just disappeared. You drank. You rode off on that fucking motorcycle for weeks at a time. And when I finally came to Phoenix to check on you, you could barely look at me. I know. Do you actually know what it was like? I lost my mother. And then I lost my father, too, because he couldn't deal with his grief like a goddamn adult. The words are harsh. They are also true. Jack has spent 5 years in knowing this truth, living with it being crushed by the weight of it. You're right, he says quietly. I failed you. I failed your mother. I was a coward. Don't you dare get noble on me now. Don't you dare act like admitting it makes it okay. I'm not. I'm just telling you the truth. I was weak. I am weak, and I don't have time to become strong. But maybe I have time to do one thing right. Sloane wipes at her eyes with the back of her hand. This isn't about redemption, Dad. You don't get to ride in on your Harley and save the day and make everything okay. I know. Then what is this about? Jack looks out at the desert rushing past. It's about making sure that someone as broken as me can still protect someone who needs it. It's about making sure that men like Marcus Rutherford don't get away with destroying people's lives. And it's about spending whatever time I have left doing something that matters. Sloane is silent for a long time. When she speaks again, her voice is softer. Mom would have liked that. Yeah, she would have. They drive in silence for another hour. The landscape shifts from desert to the outskirts of Phoenix, then to the manicured lawns and luxury developments of Scottsdale. Ainsley Kemp lives in a modest apartment complex tucked between 2 shopping centers. Her unit is on the 2nd floor, accessible by an outdoor staircase. Sloane parks in the visitor lot. Let me do the talking. You're here as a witness, nothing more. Understood. They climb the stairs. Sloan knocks on the door of apartment 2C. No answer. She knocks again. Miss Kemp, my name is Sloan Morrison. I'm a journalist with the Seattle Times. I'd like to talk to you about Marcus Rutherford. There is a long pause. Then a voice from inside, cautious and afraid. I have nothing to say. I understand you signed an NDA. I'm not asking you to violate it. I just want to talk. Go away. Sloan looks at Jack. He steps forward. Miss Kemp, my name is Jack Morrison. I'm not a journalist. I'm just someone who saw what Marcus Rutherford did to a young woman yesterday, and I think you might understand better than anyone what that means. Another pause, then the sound of locks disengaging. The door opens a crack. A woman peers out, the chain still engaged. She is 32 years old, but she looks older. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a hasty ponytail. The look of someone who has not slept well in a very long time. What do you want? Just to talk, Jack says gently. 5 minutes, that's all. Ainsley studies him. Her gaze takes in his silver hair, his weathered face, the Hells Angels patches on his leather jacket. You're not with him. No, I'm against him. She looks at Sloan. You're really a journalist. Sloan holds up her press credentials. Seattle Times. I've been investigating Rutherford Development Group for 3 months. Ainsley's expression wavers between hope and fear. Finally, she closes the door, removes the chain, and opens it fully. 5 minutes, but I can't violate my NDA. If I do, I lose everything. They step inside. The apartment is small but tidy. A laptop sits open on the coffee table surrounded by legal textbooks. A half-empty cup of coffee has gone cold beside it. You're in law school, Sloan observes. Second year. I'm using the settlement money to pay for it. Ainsley sits on the edge of the couch, her posture defensive. I figure if I can't beat them, I'll learn to be one of them. Jack understands this, the need to take something terrible and transmute it into purpose. Sloan sits across from her, pulling out her notebook. I'm going to be direct. I know you worked for Marcus Rutherford. I know you filed an HR complaint. I know you received a settlement. I'm not asking you to tell me anything covered by your NDA. Then what are you asking? I'm asking if you would be willing to talk to someone who recently experienced similar treatment, someone who's trying to decide whether to come forward. Ainsley looks at Jack. The young woman you mentioned, her name is Kate. She's 24. She works as a waitress. Rutherford harassed her, touched her without consent, made sexual comments, implied he could help her career if she was friendly. Jack's voice is steady, but anger simmers beneath each word. She's scared. She doesn't know if speaking up will matter or if it will just make her a target. Ainsley closes her eyes. When she opens them, they are wet. It will make her a target. That's the truth. If she goes public, Rutherford will destroy her. He'll use his lawyers. He'll use his money. He'll make her life hell. So she should stay silent. I didn't say that. Ainsley stands, walks to the window. I stayed silent. I took the money. I signed the papers. And every day since I've wondered if I did the right thing. Because I know I wasn't the first. And I know I wasn't the last. Sloan leans forward. How many others do you know about? I can't answer that without violating my NDA. Can you answer hypothetically if someone were to investigate Marcus Rutherford's employment records? What might they find? Ainsley is quiet for a long moment. Hypothetically, they might find a pattern of young female employees leaving the company within 6 to 18 months of being hired. They might find unusually large severance packages for junior staff. They might find a lot of NDAs. Sloan writes this down, and if someone were to contact these women, most of them signed the same kind of agreement I did. They can't talk. But, she hesitates, there's one woman who never signed anything. Rebecca Halloway. She was Rutherford's sister-in-law. She worked in the company briefly about 8 years ago. She left after some kind of incident. No NDA, no settlement, because keeping it in the family. Jack's pulse quickens. Where is she now? Last I heard, she was living in Tempe. She divorced Rutherford's brother about 3 years ago. I don't know if she'll talk, but she's not legally bound to silence. Sloan makes a note of the name. This is helpful, thank you. Ainsley turns from the window. Tell your waitress something for me. Tell her that silence feels safe, but it's poison. It eats at you, and 5 years from now, she'll wonder if speaking up could have stopped him from hurting someone else. That's what I live with every day. Jack stands, extends his hand. Thank you for your time. Ainsley shakes it. Her grip is surprisingly strong. One more thing. Marcus Rutherford is dangerous, not just because he's a predator, but because he's smart. He covers his tracks, he has connections, judges, politicians, police. If you come after him, he will fight back. Hard. We know. Do you? Because I've seen what he does to people who cross him. He doesn't just beat them in court, he ruins them. Completely. She looks at Sloan. Are you prepared for that? Sloan meets her gaze without flinching. Yes. They leave the apartment and return to the car. As Sloan drives back toward Route 66, Jack can see her mind working, processing, planning. Rebecca Holloway, she says, that's our next step. You think she'll talk? I don't know, but she's not bound by an NDA, which means she's our best chance at breaking through Rutherford's wall of silence. Jack's phone rings. He checks the display. Bear. Yeah, we've got a problem. Bear's voice is tense. Wheel's mother just called. 2 men showed up at her house an hour ago. Private investigators. They told her that if she talks to any journalists, she'll be sued for defamation and breach of contract. Oh, breach of what contract? The sale agreement she signed with Rutherford included a non-disparagement clause. She's not allowed to say anything negative about him or his company. Jack's free hand curls into a fist. That's legal. Unfortunately, yes, and it gets worse. They visited all 11 families. Every single one of them is now too scared to talk. Sloan has been listening. She pulls over to the side of the road. Put him on speaker. Jack complies. Mr. Garrett, this is Sloan Morrison. Did the investigators identify themselves? Yeah, Phoenix Investigations Group. Licensed and legitimate. Did they threaten the families explicitly? No, just reminded them of their contractual obligations. Very polite, very legal, very effective. Sloan swears under her breath. He's moving fast. He knows we're building a case. How? Jack asks. Think about it. Yesterday you confronted him in a diner full of witnesses. Today I show up. It doesn't take a genius to connect the dots. And if he ran a background check on you, he'd find out you have a daughter who's an investigative journalist. Jack feels a cold weight settle in his stomach. He's watching us. Almost certainly, which means we need to move faster than he does. Bear's voice crackles through the speaker. What do you need from us? Can you get me contact information for Rebecca Holloway? I'll make some calls. Do it, and Bear, tell the families in Prescott that they're not alone. Tell them we're going to find a way to tell their story. Copy that? The line goes dead. Sloan pulls back onto the road. We need to find Rebecca Holloway tonight, before Rutherford gets to her. Jack nods, but his mind is elsewhere. He is thinking about the letter in his pocket, the letter he has rewritten 17 times. He is thinking about how little time he has left. And he is thinking about the fact that Marcus Rutherford now knows exactly who is coming after him. They drive in silence until they reach the outskirts of Phoenix. Sloan's phone rings. She answers on Bluetooth. Morrison. Sloan, it's Keith. The voice belongs to her editor at the Seattle Times. He sounds stressed. We need to talk. I'm on personal leave, Keith. Whatever it is can wait. It can't. I just got served with a cease and desist letter from Rutherford Development Group. They're threatening to sue the paper for harassment and defamation if we continue investigating them. Sloan's knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. On what grounds? They claim you've been making unsubstantiated allegations, contacting their employees without permission, and collaborating with known criminal organizations. That's bullshit, and you know it. Maybe, but their lawyers are very convincing and very expensive. The publisher is spooked. She wants me to kill the story. Keith, I'm close. I just need a few more days. You don't have a few more days. You have until Monday to submit what you have, or the story is dead. Sloan closes her eyes briefly. That's 3 days. I know, I'm sorry, but that's the reality. What if I can get testimony from multiple victims? What if I can document a clear pattern of fraud and harassment? Then you might have a story that's lawsuit proof, but you need solid sources, on the record, with documentation, and anything less and we're open to a defamation suit that could bankrupt the paper. Understood. Sloan, be careful. These people play for keeps. The call ends. Sloan hits the steering wheel with her palm. Damn it. Jack says nothing. What can he say? He knows what it is like to have time running out, to feel the walls closing in. We need Rebecca Holloway, Sloan says. She's our only chance now. Jack's phone buzzes. A text from Bear. Found her. Rebecca Holloway, 41, lives in Tempe. Works as a therapist. Sending address. A moment later, the address appears. Sloan plugs it into her GPS. It's 40 minutes from here. Then let's not waste time. They drive through Phoenix as the sun begins to set, painting the city in shades of amber and shadow. Jack watches the buildings pass, thinking about all the lives contained within them. All the people going about their evenings unaware that somewhere in this city, a man like Marcus Rutherford is planning his next move. Rebecca Holloway lives in a quiet neighborhood of modest, ranch-style homes. Her house is painted a soft blue with a well-maintained garden and a swing set in the front yard. As they pull up, Jack sees a woman in her early 40s working in the garden. She looks up as they approach, wariness crossing her face. Sloan gets out first, hands visible, posture non-threatening. Rebecca Holloway. Who's asking? My name is Sloan Morrison. I'm a journalist. This is Jack Morrison, a private citizen. We're investigating Marcus Rutherford. Rebecca stands, pulling off her gardening gloves. I have nothing to say about Marcus. We're not asking you to say anything about Marcus specifically. We're asking you to help protect other women from experiencing what you experienced. Rebecca's expression hardens. You don't know what I experienced. No, but I know you worked for Rutherford Development Group 8 years ago. I know you left abruptly. And I know you divorced your husband 3 years later. All of which is my private business. Jack steps forward. Miss Holloway, I understand your reluctance. I do. But I need to tell you something. Yesterday, a 24-year-old woman named Kate was harassed by Marcus Rutherford. He touched her without consent. He made sexual comments. And when he left, he threatened to find her again. Something shifts in Rebecca's face. She's deciding whether to come forward, Jack continues. But she's scared. Scared that it won't matter. Scared that she'll be the only one. And I'm here to tell her she's not alone. But I need help proving that. Rebecca is quiet for a long time. Then she speaks, her voice barely above a whisper. Come inside. They follow her into a house that is warm and lived in. Children's drawings cover the refrigerator. A photo on the mantel shows Rebecca with a boy and a girl, both around 10 years old. Rebecca sits on the couch, gestures for them to sit as well. I don't know what I can tell you that will help. Tell us what happened, Sloan says gently. Rebecca takes a deep breath. I was 29. I had just gotten my master's in business administration. My husband, Devin, worked for his brother, Marcus. He got me a job in the company, executive assistant to the CFO. She pauses, gathering herself. Marcus was always inappropriate, comments about my appearance, standing too close. But I thought it was just him being socially awkward. Devin said that was just how Marcus was, that I shouldn't take it personally. Jack knows where this is going. He has heard versions of this story too many times. One night there was a company event, a fundraiser. Everyone was drinking. Marcus cornered me in a hallway. He told me I was wasting my potential being married to his brother. He said I deserved better. He tried to kiss me. Rebecca's hands clench in her lap. I pushed him away. I told him to stop. He laughed. He said I was being dramatic, that I should be flattered. And then he said something I'll never forget. He said, everything in this company belongs to me, including you. Sloan is writing rapidly. What happened next? I reported it to HR. They told me they would investigate. 2 days later, I was called into a meeting. Marcus was there. His lawyers were there. They said I had misunderstood, that Marcus had been trying to pay me a compliment and I had overreacted. They offered me a severance package if I would leave quietly. Did you take it? No, I went to my husband. I told him what happened, and her voice breaks. He didn't believe me. He said I must have misread the situation. He said Marcus would never do something like that. Jack feels a familiar rage building in his chest. I quit the next day. No severance, no reference. Just walked out. My marriage never recovered. Devin always blamed me for creating drama, for making things difficult. We divorced 3 years ago. Did you ever file a police report? Sloan asks. No, Marcus didn't assault me. He just made me feel powerless and small. I didn't think anyone would care, and I was right. Nobody did. We care, Jack says, and we need your help to make sure he can't do this to anyone else. Rebecca wipes at her eyes. What do you want from me? We want you to tell your story on the record, with your name attached. I have 2 children. If Marcus comes after me, he will, Sloan says honestly. He'll try to discredit you. He'll probably sue. But you're not bound by an NDA. You have legal protection for telling the truth. And you won't be alone. We're building a case with multiple witnesses. Rebecca stands, walks to the window. 8 years I've kept this to myself. 8 years of wondering if I should have fought harder, if I should have made more noise. You can make noise now, Jack says. She turns to look at him. Why do you care so much? What's your stake in this? Jack thinks about how to answer. He could tell her about his daughter, about the guilt he carries, about his need for redemption before he dies. Instead, he tells her the simple truth. Because I'm tired of watching bad men win. Rebecca holds his gaze for a long moment. Then she nods. Okay, I'll talk. I'll go on record. But I want something in return. What? Sloane asks. I want you to promise me that you'll protect that waitress. That you won't let Marcus Rutherford destroy her the way he tried to destroy me. Jack extends his hand. You have my word. Rebecca shakes it. Then let's burn his world down. The moon hangs low over Paradise Valley, Arizona, casting silver light across manicured lawns and sprawling estates. This is where Phoenix's wealthy come to insulate themselves from the rest of the world, where gates and guards create the illusion of safety, where money buys distance from consequence. The Rutherford estate sits at the end of a private drive, a monument to excess. Spanish colonial architecture, terracotta roof tiles, a circular driveway that could accommodate 20 cars. Security cameras on every corner. Tonight, the house blazes with light. Through the windows, Jack can see people in evening wear, champagne glasses, catching the glow of chandeliers. A garden party for investors and politicians, Bear had discovered. Marcus Rutherford's way of celebrating another successful quarter. Jack sits on his Harley at the bottom of the hill, engine idling, watching the house. Behind him, 5 more motorcycles rumble in the darkness. Bear. Tiny. Red. Wheels. Smoke. Doc. The Brotherhood. In the 3 days since Rebecca Holloway agreed to talk, everything has accelerated. Sloane worked 18-hour days conducting interviews, verifying facts, building an airtight case. She found 4 more women willing to speak about Marcus Rutherford's harassment, though only Rebecca would go on record. She documented the fraud against 11 families in exquisite detail. She compiled financial records showing a pattern of predatory land acquisition spanning 7 years in 3 states. And this morning, the FBI executed a search warrant on Rutherford Development Group's headquarters. Marcus Rutherford knows he is being investigated. He knows the walls are closing in. And according to Vivian Bradford, the attorney Jack's old friend brought onto the case, Marcus has spent the last 72 hours liquidating assets, transferring money to offshore accounts, preparing to flee. Tonight might be their last chance to confront him before he disappears into the maze of international law and expensive lawyers. Jack's phone buzzes, a text from Sloane. In position, Vivian says FBI will be here in 20 minutes. Wait for them. Jack types back, copy, but he does not move. Not yet. Another text arrives, this one from Kate. I'm scared. What if this doesn't work? Jack considers his response carefully. His fingers, gnarled and scarred from decades of mechanical work, move slowly across the phone's keyboard. It will work, because we're not giving him a choice. Stay close to Sloane. The truth is simpler and darker than what he typed. It will work because Jack Morrison is a dying man with nothing to lose, and dying men are capable of things that scare even themselves. Bear pulls up alongside it and kills his engine. You sure about this, brother? No. Good. Man who's sure usually hasn't thought it through. Bear's grin is visible, even in the darkness. How you feeling? Jack takes inventory. His chest aches, a constant burning that the pain medication barely touches. His breathing is shallow. This morning he coughed blood into the sink and stood there for 5 minutes, watching it swirl down the drain, wondering how many more mornings he had left. I'm good. Liar. But Bear does not push. The plan's sound. We go in, we make sure Rutherford can't run before the FBI arrives. We make sure everyone sees what he is. Clean and simple. Nothing about this is clean. No, but it's right. Bear pauses. Your daughter know what we're doing. She knows enough. She doesn't know you're planning to go toe-to-toe with Rutherford. Jack does not respond. Sloane thinks they are simply here to make sure Marcus does not flee before the FBI arrives. She thinks they are backup insurance, a visible presence to keep him from doing anything stupid. She does not know that Jack intends to force a confrontation, to make Marcus Rutherford account for every woman he hurt, every family he defrauded, every life he casually destroyed in pursuit of profit and power. If this goes sideways, Bear says quietly, if you end up in cuffs or worse, you know the club will take care of things. We'll make sure your daughter's protected. We'll make sure the story gets told. I know. And you're doing this anyway. I have to. Bear nods slowly. He has ridden with Jack for 20 years. He knows when words will not change a man's mind. Then let's make it count. Jack starts his engine. The Harley roars to life, and the sound echoes off the surrounding hills like thunder. They ride up the private drive in formation, 6 motorcycles moving as one. The security guard at the gate steps out of his booth, hand moving toward his radio. Then he sees the patches, the colors, the unmistakable emblem of the Hells Angels. His hand stops. Bear pulls up to the booth, kills his engine. "We're here to see Marcus Rutherford." The guard is young, maybe 25. His uniform is crisp, his posture military. "This is a private event. You're not on the guest list. Call your boss. Tell him the Hells Angels want to talk about a business deal. Tell him we represent Margaret Donovan and 10 other families he defrauded." The guard's eyes widen slightly. He picks up his radio. "Sir, we have a situation at the gate." Static crackles. Then a voice smooth and controlled. "What kind of situation?" "6 motorcycles. They say they want to talk to Mr. Rutherford about a business deal." More static. A longer pause. "Let them in." The guard looks surprised, but he opens the gate. As Jack rides through, the young man catches his eye. For just a moment, Jack sees recognition there. Not of him specifically, but of the situation. This guard knows something is about to happen. Something that will change the carefully controlled atmosphere of this wealthy enclave. They ride up the circular driveway and park their motorcycles in a perfect line facing the house. Chrome gleaming under the exterior lights. Leather saddlebags dusty from the road. The front door opens. Marcus Rutherford steps out, flanked by 2 men in dark suits. Private security, Jack recognizes. Not rent-a-cops like the one at the gate. These are professionals. Ex-military probably. The kind of men who know how to hurt people efficiently. Marcus wears a charcoal suit that probably cost more than Jack's motorcycle. His hair is perfect. His smile is confident. He descends the steps like a king greeting peasants. "Gentlemen, this is unexpected. I don't usually conduct business at social gatherings." Jack dismounts slowly. His knees protest. His back sends sharp signals of pain up his spine. He ignores them. Behind him, the other 5 dismount in unison. "We're not here for business," Jack says. Marcus's smile does not waver. "Then why are you here?" "We're here to make sure you don't run." "Run from what?" Marcus spreads his hands in a gesture of innocence. "I'm hosting a party. I'm not going anywhere. FBI executed a search warrant on your office this morning. Your lawyers have been filing emergency motions all day. And according to our sources, you've transferred $8 million to accounts in the Cayman Islands in the last 48 hours. Marcus's smile finally cracks just slightly. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." Jack takes a step forward. "You know exactly what I'm talking about. Just like you know why we're here." The front door opens again. More people emerge from the party, drawn by the commotion. Jack recognizes faces from news coverage. A state senator, a federal judge, 2 city councilmen. The kind of people who attend charity galas and golf tournaments, who make decisions that affect thousands of lives from the comfort of air-conditioned offices. "Good, let them see." Sloan emerges from the side of the house, camera in hand. She has been documenting everything, Jack realizes. Behind her, Kate Holloway appears, flanked by Vivian Bradford. And behind them, more women. Rebecca Holloway. 3 others that Jack recognizes from the files Sloan compiled. Marcus sees them and his expression changes. The smooth confidence evaporates, replaced by something darker. Calculation, fear masked as anger. "This is trespassing, all of you. I want you off my property now." "We'll leave when we're ready," Bear says. His voice is calm, but there is steel underneath. One of Marcus's security guards steps forward. "Sir, should I call the police?" "Yes, call them. Tell them we have multiple trespassers who are refusing to leave." "I wouldn't do that if I were you," Vivian Bradford says. She is 64 years old, gray-haired and elegant in a burgundy dress. She was a prosecutor for 23 years before retiring to focus on pro bono work. Her voice carries the authority of someone who has stood in courtrooms and faced down criminals for decades. "Because the moment the police arrive, I'm going to ask them to arrest you for wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit fraud." Marcus laughs, but it sounds forced. "On what evidence?" "On the evidence that a federal grand jury reviewed this afternoon. On the evidence that resulted in a sealed indictment being issued 2 hours ago." Vivian pulls a document from her briefcase, holds it up. "Marcus Gregory Rutherford, you're under investigation for multiple counts of fraud, and you will be formally arrested once the FBI arrives, which should be in approximately 15 minutes. The crowd of party guests murmurs. The senator takes a step back, as if proximity to Marcus might be contagious. Marcus's face goes white, then red. "This is a setup. You have no right to come here and..." We have every right, Sloan says. She holds up her phone, which is recording. This is a public confrontation of a public figure regarding matters of public interest. And you're about to hear from the people whose lives you destroyed. Kate steps forward. Her hands are shaking, but her voice is clear. My name is May Catherine Holloway. 4 days ago, Marcus Rutherford came into the diner where I work. He harassed me. He touched me without my consent. He made sexual comments. And when he left, he threatened to fine me. Marcus starts to speak, but Rebecca Holloway cuts him off. My name is Rebecca Holloway. 8 years ago, I worked for Rutherford Development Group. Marcus Rutherford cornered me at a company event. He tried to kiss me. When I reported it, I was told I misunderstood. I was pressured to leave the company, and when I went to my husband, your brother, he didn't believe me. You destroyed my marriage and my career. Another woman steps forward. My name is Ainsley Kemp. I worked as Marcus Rutherford's executive assistant. He harassed me for months. When I finally reported it, I was offered $250,000 to sign an NDA and disappear. I took the money because I was scared. But I'm not scared anymore. One by one, the women speak. Each testimony is a nail in the coffin of Marcus Rutherford's carefully constructed image. The party guests are silent now. Some are recording on their phones. The senator has disappeared back into the house. Jack watches Marcus's face as the women speak. He sees the mask cracking, sees the rage and humiliation building beneath the surface. Finally, when the last woman has spoken, Jack steps forward. And I'm Jack Morrison. I'm nobody important, just a man who happened to be in the right place at the right time. I watched you hurt Miss Holloway, and I decided that was enough. Marcus's control finally snaps. You decided, his voice rises to a shout. You're a criminal, a biker thug with a rap sheet. You don't get to decide anything. You're right. I don't get to decide. The FBI gets to decide. The courts get to decide. The jury gets to decide. Jack's voice remains calm. But I get to stand here and make sure you don't run before they have their chance. Marcus takes a step toward Jack, his security guards moving with him. You think you've won? You think some sob stories in a federal investigation mean anything? I have lawyers. I have money. I have connections. By the time this is over, you'll be the one in handcuffs for harassment and trespassing. Maybe, but everyone here has seen what you are. Everyone here knows the truth. Jack gestures to the crowd of party guests, many of whom are now trying to slip away quietly. Your investors know, your political friends know, and by tomorrow morning, everyone in Arizona will know. Because I'm going to make sure of it, Sloan adds. She holds up her recorder. This entire confrontation is on record. My story publishes in the Seattle Times tomorrow morning. Front page. Every detail, every victim, every fraudulent land deal. Marcus lunges toward her, but Bear steps between them. The big man does not touch Marcus, simply stands there immovable. Don't, Bear says quietly. Marcus is breathing hard now, his face flushed with rage. You're all going to regret this. Every single one of you. I will destroy you. I will sue you into oblivion. You'll what? Jack interrupts. Threaten us. Like you threatened Miss Holloway. Like you threatened Margaret Donovan and 10 other families into silence. At the mention of his mother's name, Wheels steps forward. Margaret Donovan is my mother. She's 76 years old. She trusted you. You promised to build a senior living community. Instead, you stole her land and sold it for profit. I didn't steal anything. She signed a contract. A contract that included a non-disparagement clause so she couldn't tell anyone what you did. A contract she signed because she believed you were an honest man. Wheels' voice is shaking with barely contained rage. She worked that land for 50 years. My grandfather built that farm with his own hands, and you took it from her with lies. Business is business. If she didn't read the contract carefully, that's not my problem. The words are a mistake. Jack sees it immediately. The crowd of party guests, which had been merely uncomfortable, now radiates disgust. Whatever sympathy Marcus might have commanded as a successful businessman has evaporated. A woman in the crowd, elderly and elegant, speaks up. Margaret Donovan and I were at Arizona State together. She's one of the finest people I've ever known. If you took advantage of her, Mr. Rutherford, you should be ashamed. Marcus spins toward her. Who the hell are... He stops. Jack sees recognition flash across his face. This woman is someone important. Someone whose opinion matters. I'm Eleanor Whitmore, the woman says coldly. My husband is the senior senator from Arizona, and I'm calling him right now to tell him that any political support he's provided to you or your company is withdrawn effective immediately. She pulls out her phone and walks away. Other guests are leaving now, a steady stream of people who suddenly want nothing to do with Marcus Rutherford. Marcus stands alone in the driveway of his mansion, watching his carefully constructed world collapse around him. Then he makes one final desperate move. He reaches into his jacket. The security guards tense. Bear and Tiny shift their weight, ready to move. But Marcus does not pull out a weapon. He pulls out his phone and holds it up, filming. "This is Marcus Rutherford," he says into the camera, his voice shaking with rage and desperation. "I'm being harassed and threatened by a criminal motorcycle gang and a group of people making false accusations. I'm documenting this for my lawyers and for the police. These people have trespassed on my property. They have made slanderous statements, and I will pursue legal action against every single—" The sound of sirens cuts him off. Not one siren, multiple, growing louder. A moment later, 3 black SUVs with federal plates pull into the driveway, followed by 2 Phoenix PD cruisers. The FBI has arrived. Agents pour out of the SUVs, weapons holstered but hands ready. The lead agent is a woman in her 40s, her FBI jacket crisp and official. "Marcus Gregory Rutherford." Marcus lowers his phone. "Yes, I'm Special Agent Catherine Morrison, FBI. You're under arrest for wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, money laundering, and obstruction of justice." She nods to 2 agents who move forward with handcuffs. "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." Jack watches as Marcus Rutherford's CEO predator thief is handcuffed in front of his mansion, in front of the remaining party guests, in front of cameras and phones recording every moment. Marcus's eyes find Jack as the agents lead him toward the SUV. There is pure hatred in that gaze. "This isn't over," Marcus hisses. "I'll make bail. I'll beat this. And when I do, I'm coming for you. For all of you." Jack steps closer, close enough that only Marcus and the agents immediately nearby can hear. "No, you won't, because I'm dying, Marcus. Stage 4 cancer. I've got maybe 3 months left. And I'm gonna spend every single day of those 3 months making sure the world knows exactly what you are. I'm going to testify. I'm going to give interviews. I'm going to haunt you all the way to prison." Marcus's face goes pale. "You picked the wrong man to threaten," Jack continues. "You picked the wrong woman to harass. And you picked the wrong families to defraud. Because now you've got a dying man with nothing to lose, making sure justice gets done." The agents put Marcus in the SUV. The door slams. The vehicle pulls away. And just like that, it is over. The remaining party guests disperse quickly. The Phoenix PD officers take statements from Jack, Sloan, and the others. Vivian coordinates with the FBI. Jack stands in the driveway, feeling the adrenaline drain from his body, leaving behind bone-deep exhaustion. Sloan approaches, her face unreadable. "You knew the FBI was coming." "Yes." "You could have just waited. You didn't need to confront him." "Yes, I did." "Why?" Jack looks at his daughter. In the harsh light from the mansion, he can see how much she looks like her mother. Eleanor Morrison had been a force of nature, passionate and principled, and utterly unwilling to back down from a fight. Sloan has inherited all of that. "Because he needed to see the people he hurt," Jack says. "He needed to know that he didn't get away with it, and those women needed to see him in handcuffs. They needed closure." Sloan is quiet for a moment. "Vivian says you committed at least 3 misdemeanors tonight. Trespassing, possible harassment, maybe intimidation." "I know. Rutherford's lawyers are going to argue that everything you did tonight constitutes witness tampering and obstruction. Probably you could go to jail." "I won't live long enough for trial." The words hang in the air between them. Sloane's eyes fill with tears. "Don't say that. It's the truth, and we both know it." She looks away, blinking rapidly. "This was stupid, reckless. You could have gotten hurt. I could have died doing something that mattered. There are worse ways to go." Sloan wipes at her eyes angrily. "I hate that you're right. I hate that you did something incredibly stupid and it worked. And I hate that I'm proud of you for it." Jack feels something crack open in his chest. "You're proud of me. Don't let it go to your head." But she is smiling now through the tears. Mom would have been furious, and then she would have been proud too. They stand together in silence, watching the last of the FBI vehicles pull away. Kate approaches, followed by the other women. "Mr. Morrison, I just wanted to say thank you for everything. You did the hard part. You spoke up. Because you showed me I could." Kate glances at Marcus's mansion, now dark and empty. "Is it really over?" "The hard part's just beginning," Vivian says, joining the group. Rutherford will make bail. He'll hire the best lawyers money can buy. This will be a long fight. But we'll win, Kate asks. Yes. Vivian's voice carries absolute certainty. The evidence is overwhelming. The testimony is compelling. And thanks to Sloane's reporting, public opinion is entirely against him. He's done. Rebecca Holloway speaks up. What happens to us now, the women who testified? You get to reclaim your narratives, Sloane says. My story publishes tomorrow. It will include all your statements. The country will hear what you went through, and hopefully it will make the next Marcus Rutherford think twice. One by one, the women drift away. Some to cars, some to taxis called by the FBI. They came as victims. They leave as survivors. Bear and the others approach Jack. Hell of a night, brother. Hell of a night. We're heading back to Prescott. Wheels wants to tell his mother what happened. You coming? Jack looks at Sloane. I think I'm staying in Phoenix for a while. Bear grins. Good man. He clasps Jack's shoulder, then lowers his voice. How you feeling? Really? Tired, but good. You need anything you call, day or night. I know. The Hells Angels mount their motorcycles and ride off into the night, engines rumbling like distant thunder. Sloane and Jack are alone in the driveway. Where are you staying? She asks. Motel near the airport. That's ridiculous. Come stay with me. I rented an apartment month to month while I worked the story. Jack hesitates. Sloane, I'm not asking Dad, I'm telling. You look like you're about to collapse. You need rest, and I need to make sure you don't do anything else stupid before morning. He follows her to her rental car. As she drives through Phoenix toward her apartment, Jack watches the city lights blur past. Can I ask you something? Sloane says. Of course. When did you find out about the cancer? 5 weeks ago. And you didn't think to call me? I tried to write a letter 17 times. I could never get the words right. Sloane's hands tighten on the steering wheel. What were you trying to say? Jack pulls the letter from his pocket. It is worn now, the edges soft from being folded and unfolded so many times. Read it. Sloane pulls over in a grocery store parking lot. She unfolds the letter carefully as if it might dissolve in her hands. Jack watches her face as she reads. He has memorized every word, but seeing her reaction gives them new weight. The letter says, I am dying. The letter says, I am sorry. The letter says, I was not the father you deserved, but you were everything a father could have hoped for in a daughter. The letter says, I love you. I have always loved you, and I am proud of the woman you have become, even though I had so little to do with it. The letter says, forgive me if you can, and if you cannot, I understand. When Sloane finishes reading, she is crying. Not quiet tears, but deep, wrenching sobs that shake her entire body. Jack reaches out awkwardly, uncertain. She grabs his hand and holds it tight enough to hurt. You're such an idiot, she says through the tears. Such a stubborn, emotionally constipated idiot. I know. All these years I thought you didn't care. I thought losing Mom made you forget about me. Never, not for 1 second. Then why did you leave? Why did you shut me out? Jack takes a deep breath. The truth is ugly, but she deserves it. Because looking at you hurt. You have your mother's eyes, her smile, her strength. And every time I saw you, I was reminded that she was gone, and it was my fault. Your fault, Dad, she had cancer. You didn't cause that. But I wasn't strong enough to help her through it. I fell apart. And when she died, I fell apart even worse. I drank. I rode my motorcycle for days at a time because being in motion meant I didn't have to think. And you needed me. And I couldn't be what you needed. Sloane wipes at her eyes. So you just left. So I just left. And I have regretted it every single day since. They sit in silence in the parking lot, the car engine ticking as it cools. Finally, Sloane speaks. I forgive you. Jack looks at her, startled. I'm still angry. I'm still hurt. And it's going to take time to rebuild what we lost. But I forgive you. She squeezes his hand. Mom wouldn't want us to spend your last months fighting. Your mother was wiser than both of us put together. She really was. Sloane puts the car in drive. Come on, let's go home. Home. Jack has not had a home in 5 years. He has had motels in the road and the brotherhood of the Hells Angels. But not home. Sloane's apartment is small but comfortable. She makes coffee while Jack sits on the couch, exhaustion finally catching up with him. How long do you actually have? She asks, handing him a mug. Doctor said 4 to 6 months. That was 5 weeks ago. So 3 to 5 months. Maybe less, maybe more. It's not an exact science. Sloane sits beside him. What do you want to do with the time you have? Jack considers. I want to see Rutherford convicted. I want to make sure those families get their land back. I want to make sure Kate and the other women get justice. What else? I want to spend time with you, make up for some of what I missed. We can do that. She pauses. I took a leave of absence from the paper. 3 months. I was going to use it to work the Rutherford story full time, but now that he's arrested, I don't need all that time. You should go back to work. I should spend time with my father while I still can. The words settle between them, heavy with truth. Jack sets down his coffee. I need to tell you something else. Something important. Okay. I'm proud of you, not just for the journalist you've become, but for the person you are. You're strong. You're principled. You don't back down from fights that matter. And that's all you, Sloan. None of that came from me. Some of it came from you. The stubborn part definitely came from you. Jack manages a smile. Fair enough. They sit together as the night deepens, talking about everything and nothing. Sloan tells him about her work, about stories she has covered, about the apartment in Seattle she loves. Jack tells her about the road, about the brotherhood, about the places he has seen and the people he has met. They do not talk about the cancer. They do not talk about the time running out. They just talk. Father and daughter, making up for 5 years of silence, one conversation at a time. Around midnight, Jack starts to fade. The pain medication is wearing off, and the exhaustion is bone deep. You should sleep, Sloan says. Yeah. She shows him to the guest room. It is small with a single bed and a nightstand, clean sheets, a lamp that casts warm light. As Jack sits on the bed, Sloan hesitates in the doorway. Dad. Yeah. I'm glad you called. I'm glad you came back. Me too. She leaves, closing the door softly behind her. Jack lies down on the bed fully clothed. His body aches. His chest burns with each breath. But for the first time in 5 years, he feels something other than grief and regret. He feels peace. His phone buzzes. A text from Bear. Margaret Donovan says thank you. All 11 families say thank you. You did good, brother. Another text, this one from Kate. I don't know how to thank you. You changed my life. Jack sets the phone aside. He closes his eyes. Tomorrow, Sloan's story will publish. Tomorrow, the legal battles will begin. Tomorrow, Marcus Rutherford will make bail and start fighting back. But tonight, in this small apartment in Phoenix, Jack Morrison is at peace. He has stood up for something that mattered. He has protected people who needed protecting. He has reconciled with his daughter. And if he dies tomorrow, he will die knowing that his last ride meant something. But he does not plan to die tomorrow. He plans to live long enough to see Marcus Rutherford convicted. He plans to live long enough to see those 11 families get their land back. He plans to live long enough to make sure that the women who spoke up tonight know their courage was not wasted. And most of all, he plans to live long enough to be the father Sloan deserves, even if only for a few more months. Outside, Phoenix sleeps under a blanket of stars. The desert night is cool and quiet. Jack Morrison is 68 years old. He has stage 4 cancer. He has 3 to 5 months left to live. But tonight, for the first time in a very long time, he is exactly where he is supposed to be. The road that brought him here has been long and hard. The road ahead is short and uncertain. But he is not afraid. Not anymore, because he has learned the most important lesson a man can learn in his final days. It is never too late to do the right thing. It is never too late to stand up. It is never too late to make amends. And it is never too late to come home. Jack falls asleep with a smile on his face, and for the first time in 5 years, his dreams are peaceful. The ride is not over yet, but he is ready for whatever comes next.